Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Fast Track Your Graduate Degree, How Bryan Undergrads Can Save Time and Money and Avoid Taking the GRE GMAT, which is one of the top questions that I get on a regular basis. I'm Jennifer Kiger Chapman, the Assistant Director of Graduate Recruitment for the Bryan School of Business and Economics, and I work collaboratively with our graduate program directors to help students throughout the application process and to help them get connected to the graduate programs, the faculty, and our students. So I prepared this talk today because I think that the Bryan School offers so many wonderful benefits and perks for our undergraduate students, and it's including the Accelerated Master's Program, which is a program that takes some planning. You need to start early, and unfortunately, it seems that sometimes students don't discover about this program until much later. You know, they're seniors and they're reaching out to me, and unfortunately, that's almost too late to really take full advantage of the program. So I'm going to share with you today some information about the job outlooks in business and tech, and why you might want to be considering a graduate degree, why you might want to consider it now versus later, and then talk to you about the Accelerated Master's Program options. Also going to share with you, I have 4 of our students here that are in the Accelerated Master's Program to share their perspective and their advice and guidance for you as you are considering this opportunity. So first, I'll just chat about why graduate school, and then, well, I guess I just kind of provided an overview, so we're good there. Great. So first up, I just wanted to launch an attendee poll. I have some questions set up for you all just to learn a little bit more about the group here today. Is this something that I launched myself?
Jennifer, can you see the poll now?
I don't see the poll.
Okay, it says that it's launched.
I have the poll questions on my end.
Okay, so the students can see it then. Yes.
Okay.
Great. Yep, I see they're starting to answer.
Wonderful.
So Jennifer, are you unable to see the results of the poll right now?
When I
Not.
Yeah, when I end the poll, I think she'll be able to see it.
Great. Thanks, Rob.
Mhm. Okay, we have about 80% participation.
And thanks everyone for participating. Always curious to see how many of each class that we have joining us, but then how many of the group have heard of the program before.
Mhm. Well, we're at 85%. Do you want me just to end the poll?
Sure, that works.
Okay, can you see the results now?
I do not see the results.
That's weird.
Perhaps if someone that does see the results could share a little bit about them.
Yeah, I could do that for you, Jennifer.
Great.
So for the first question, what is your enrollment classification? We have 40% is senior, that is our leading. We also have 36% junior, 10% sophomore, and 14% freshman. For graduate expectancy, our leading percentage is 33% in the spring and summer of 2022. And our least is fall of 2023 at 5%. Which of the following Bryan School programs and benefits have you heard of in the past? It's pretty well distributed throughout, between 5 and 10%. The only one that has a really low percentage, there's 3 of them. Nobody has heard of the graduate application fee waivers. And as far as the Master's in Retail Studies Accelerated Master's program, we have 0%. And the highest percentage for that one is 24%, which is the GMAT test fee waivers.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ty. Appreciate that. And thanks to everyone for sharing your feedback on that poll. So now I'll share a little bit of information about why you might want to consider graduate school. So first up is salary potential. So on the left-hand side here, I have some recent numbers from Indeed sharing about the highest paying master's degrees. So these are the master's degrees that get you the biggest bump in salary. And here on this list, you see economics with a salary of about $94,000, finance at $108,000, business administration at $114,000, and information technology at $121,000 annually. On the right-hand side, these numbers are a little bit more dated, but they haven't done this detailed of an analysis since they released these numbers in 2015. But the overall numbers for wage premium for a master's degree are still very strong in the most recent numbers that came out in 2019. But as you can see here, this is the median annual wage for those with a bachelor's degree in each of these occupations. So we're looking at financial service agents, logisticians, transportation and distribution managers. That's like our supply chain management. We have financial managers here, market research analysts and marketing specialists, and then lastly, marketing and sales managers. So that's the median annual wage. Then in the next column, we have the median annual wage for those in those those occupation areas with a master's degree. And so as you can see, in some cases, the increase is very significant. If you look here, wage premium is essentially the median annual wage of those with a master's subtracting the median annual wage of those with a bachelor's, and you can see the wage premium here, the percentages. So in some of these cases, the master's programs are 1 year or 2 years, especially considering the cost of the master's programs at the Bryan School and the benefits that you get by saving in tuition dollars by starting as an undergraduate student. You can see the possibility for your wage premium being very good. So salary potential is definitely something that motivates a fair number of students to consider a master's degree. Next up is job security. So US News and World Report released early on in the pandemic, the 19 careers that had the most job security and that were best positioned during the pandemic. Software developer, operations research analysts, and market research analysts were all in that group. And we offer master's degrees in all of those areas that would prepare you for those degrees. The Wall Street Journal actually also released some information later in the pandemic in the June of last year, sharing about how to make your career pandemic proof, and essentially ran an analysis on those that will be hiring. And it was essentially those that are experts that are ready to address the readiness economy, right? Helping to address the issues of the pandemic and responding to future crises. So job security is definitely an area of interest for folks who are considering a master's program. When it comes time for a career change, or if you're looking for a career change, graduate degree can definitely boost your job prospects. Of those that were getting jobs early on in the pandemic back in May 2020, over 51% of them had a graduate or professional degree. And again, these are the folks getting the jobs. As you can imagine, if you're up against a lot of other people with bachelor's degrees and year after year, more and more people are getting them, the bar is set a little bit higher. So whenever you go to that master's degree, it really gives you the edge up when you're applying for positions and trying to get a job. Career advancement is another one. So this was an analysis done on Burning Glass of all of the positions that were posted between March 1st, 2019 and February 29th, 2020. Of the positions that involved marketing managers, and that's over 274,000 positions, 37% of those positions preferred a master's degree. So again, as I mentioned, if you're up against other job candidates who don't have a master's degree, this is going to be helpful for you when it comes time for the interview and selection process. There's a 22% preference for general managers to have a master's degree. In sales management, a 19% preference. Financial managers, 35% preference. And the biggest was in the information systems manager positions. Of 27,000 jobs that were posted, 42% were seeking candidates with a master's degree. This is probably one of our fastest growing master's programs at the Bryan School, and we're seeing a large influx of people in the information systems and IT industries seeking a master's degree. Obviously, there's the learn new skills element of it. I mention this because as an undergraduate student, I find that many of the students I'm talking to have families, they're working full time, or they're trying to work part time, and it really takes a lot of attention and focus to just get the information, get those requirements to get to graduation. And those students haven't necessarily had the opportunity to take advantage of all of the additional services and skills that you can learn in a college environment to really explore and find out their own personal leadership style, and really kind of explore what are all those additional elements of my degree program. So something to consider is going further into a master's program is just to learn more, obviously, but then learn new skills and be able to really refine your management style and your leadership style. And then I would say the Bryan graduate resources are a huge benefit. And I think this is really what sets us apart when folks are considering other graduate schools. We have Dr. Amy Yandel. She's our graduate student professional development specialist, working exclusively with our graduate program students for one-on-one job coaching, career planning. And we also have Bramley Crisco, who works for both undergrad and graduate students, but really helps with those employer and corporate relations. So she's, surveying our employers and following up to see after they hire our students, what did our students have that they liked, what did they not have that they didn't like, and then going back to our curriculum to make adjustments. And what that creates is a really a relationship of trust. And so those businesses come year after year back to the Bryan School to hire our students because they know what they're going to get when they hire a Bryan grad. And that's especially true of these companies here. So these are Bryan grad resources that are available to you as a graduate student. So I do have a short slide about why now. Why would you consider doing it right now? Well, one would be to continue the momentum generated during your undergraduate studies. The number one thing I hear from our graduate student ambassadors about advice to give to undergraduate students is start sooner. A lot of them, got years of experience, then started families. You had a lot of other stuff going on. And while they were still an undergrad, I wish they would have just continued that momentum and finished it to get their graduate degree at that point. Another option would be to develop skills while the economy is recovering, right? The job market can be really competitive right now. There might not be all the jobs out there that you're looking for. So you can get some additional skills and allow the economy to recover and then to go enter the job marketplace. Another reason would be to expand your business network connections. Again, focusing so much on the graduation requirements and just navigating undergrad, getting used to all of that. On the grad level, I find that those students really have a little bit more time to really network, and there's a lot of programming focused on that. And these are going to be your future colleagues, so it's an important part of your education. And then lastly is to take advantage of the Bryan Graduate School's Accelerated Master's Program. So this program allows you to earn dual course credit for 6 to 12 credit hours. You can save close to $44,000 up to $6,500 in tuition costs because you're not having to pay to take those classes twice. And then it also allows you to apply to graduate school without taking the GRE GMAT. More and more schools these days are making these tests optional. And so but there are still some that still require it. So in order to be able to apply to a grad program without having to take those tests that take, weeks and weeks to prepare and then cost a good deal of money to take. So just an overview of the accelerated master's program options at the Bryan School. So when you're considering this, and you need to start early, however, the application requirements say junior, senior, but you'll want to be thinking about even as a first year or sophomore, or as a first semester junior, if you're a transfer student, if you know you're interested in this, start talking to your academic counselors now about this so that you can plan. You have to have at least a 3.5 GPA, and you have to have at least 30 credit hours at UNCG, essentially by the time that you enroll in the program. So if you only have 15 credit hours, that's okay. You can click submit on your application, but by the time you enroll, you'll need 30. And so it just takes some advanced planning. The benefits of the program are that you get a GRE GMAT waiver, so you do not need to provide those tests when you're applying, and you can earn dual credit. So you're making your undergraduate time and effort work double for you. So the dual credit opportunities are listed here by program. So the MBA program, you can take 3 classes while an undergraduate student as part of the MBA program. And then after you graduate, it'll be another 18 months to get your MBA. Then for the master's program, it's 2 classes, and it's just an additional 12 months to your master's of science in accounting. For retail studies, they allow 4 classes to count towards your master's program, and then you just have 12 additional months towards your master's. The MS in ITA management is the same, with 4 classes in 12 months, as well as the Master of Arts in Applied Economics. So as you can see, you can really save a lot of time and money in taking advantage of this program. If you're interested in learning more about any of these, number one, first and foremost, talk to your advisor about this. Make an appointment, schedule a time, and chat with them. You need to not take those dual credit courses because if you take them ahead of time, then they can't count twice for you if you haven't been admitted to the program. So it's just going to take a little bit of planning. Happy to talk to you as well about it and help you navigate the process. And then also, please do reach out to these graduate program contacts who are our accelerated master's coordinators, and then ultimately you'll need to submit your application. So that's the basics of the program. I'm going to share a few more pieces of information about general perks for those. These are for Bryan students that are not participating in the accelerated master's program. So these are available to anyone. So you can get a GRE GMAT waiver if you have at least a 3.3 GPA or above. And this is only for Bryan undergraduate students, not for anyone else from other schools. So this is definitely something that you'll want to consider. Next up is the application fee waiver. Beta Gamma Sigma, which is an honor society at the Bryan School. If you're nominated and accept your membership, you receive an application fee waiver, which waives the $65 application fee to apply to a graduate program. And then lastly, as the GMAT prep courses, we actually offer free virtual GMAT prep courses that last 5 weeks. We do it 4 times a year. They're offered in the fall and the spring. So if you're interested in preparing for, excuse me, I'm sorry. If you're interested in preparing for the GMAT, then we'll help you do that. And not only that, we have a number of GMAT test fee waivers, which will waive the $250 fee to take the GMAT. So please do reach out to us if you're interested in any of those opportunities. Happy to help get you connected. But now I'm excited to introduce our current students in the program so that they can share a little bit about their perspective. So first up, we have Luke Pecor. He is in the MBA program for the Accelerated Masters. So Luke, please do share your perspective with our attendees today.
Sure thing. So like Jennifer said, I'm a first semester MBA student. I was fortunate enough to discover the AMP program as a senior. Of course, I could have taken a little bit more advantage of it, going in as a junior. But sometimes you just got to, take the opportunities as they come. So definitely take her advice and start planning early. So I was supposed to speak to you today about kind of the specifics of how I benefited from starting early. So I think Jennifer did a pretty good job of covering a lot of the basic stuff that you might have to do to another program coming in. So, you know, taking the GMAT, applying to the program itself, and then figuring out your course of study. Well, by getting into the program as an undergrad, you've already knocked, you know, portions of those three things right off the bat. So you're going to have to apply to get into the school anyway, just as you would have to apply to the A&P program. Well, if you get into the A&P program, you're already shuffled right into whatever master's program you're going into. So that's, you're going to have to do it anyway. Might as well just go ahead and knock it out early. As far as the GMAT, like she said, you don't have to take it. So that's saving you time just by applying, right, and getting in. And then the biggest thing I think is the course of study. So as an undergrad, right, you're able to take up to 3 classes that count toward your master's program. Okay, so let's say you don't even take 2 of those classes. Let's say you only take 1 of those classes. Okay, this is why it's beneficial to only take, even if you're only able to take 1, to go ahead and take 1. Okay, if you're coming into the Bryan School if you're a Bryan School undergraduate coming into the Bryan School as a graduate student, okay, you have to take some core classes, right? You have to take economics, you have to take accounting. Well, if you've made B's in those classes, you can waive the accounting class and the economics class at the master's level, okay? That means if you take 1 more class, an A&P class, you've basically eliminated an entire semester off of your graduate program, okay? If you're able to take another 2 classes in the A&P program, well, now you've got like a semester in 3/4, or a semester in 2/3, I guess. Either way, that gives you options, right? So you can either take that semester that now you have leeway, okay, and you can say, all right, well, I'm just going to graduate early, right? Because I have that semester I don't even have to worry about. Or you can say, okay, well, I have this semester I can play with. I can now take other classes that interest me, right? You can go and get a concentration. You can go and complete a graduate certificate. So it just doing that early and having that semester at least of time to kind of play with in your graduate program, it just gives you more options, which I think is super beneficial. As far as the financial cost, undergraduate level classes are cheaper than graduate level classes. Okay, so the more graduate level classes you're able to take as an undergrad, the more money you're going to save, right? So just the base level tuition is cheaper as an undergrad. Once you get into graduate school, you're going to have to pay a tuition differential for every class you take on top of your base tuition. Okay, so the more classes that you can stack up and take as an undergrad, the more money you're going to save overall.
That was great. Thank you so much, Luke. Really appreciate your perspective. Now, Madison, if you don't mind sharing, I'd love to hear what your recommendations are for our attendees. Madison Hay is one of our graduate student ambassadors for our Master of Science in Accounting program, and she's also an accelerated master's program student.
Yes, thank you. So this is my first semester also in the full master's program. Last year I completed, or this past spring, I completed my bachelor's. So I finished up the A&P program. And the reason I wanted to be in the A&P program was because I knew that it could help me not only finish my degree quicker, but help me get those last major credits that I needed for my undergraduate degree. And so I liked that it would give me a jump start on my master's degree. And the big benefit for me was that I could already knock some classes out of the way so that I could have a lighter workload for my master's degree, so that I could either like do more internships or just finish quicker, or in my case, specifically with accounting, I'm gonna use a lot of my free time to study for the CPA exam, which is another big reason why I needed grad school and chose to go to grad school, was because part of the CPA requirements is you have to have 150 hours credits for school. And so grad school would help me with that. And so the A&P program helped me get it done quicker, or is helping me get it done quicker, I should say. And that means that the quicker I get it done, the quicker I can start working full time, which fingers crossed, I'll start working full time next fall. So it wasn't really a big decision for me. When I looked at the AMP program, I really only saw positives, and I think it's a really great opportunity to go ahead and knock out a lot of requirements that you need, and you don't have to worry about taking any entrance exams or anything. And so overall, I think it's very beneficial to be a part of.
Thanks so much, Madison. Griffin, would you like to share now?
Yes, of course. So just like everyone else, this is now my first official semester of the MBA program. And I did the AMPP courses last fall, and I took marketing management and leadership. So I really want to talk about more of the planning behind it as a student. And when I decided to first partake in this program was, I was lucky enough to discover it my very first semester, my freshman year. I believe I was sitting in my microeconomics class. Someone from the graduate program came down to talk about it. Actually, that time I didn't plan on doing my MBA at the school, so I was very close to kind of zoning out during when she was speaking. But then she started talking about the AMP program and to fast track your MBA along with your undergrad, and that really caught my interest. And from that point forward, I looked at the brochure that was given and stuff like that, and I decided, okay, this is something I definitely want to learn more about. And like you said before, go meet with your advisor. Exactly what I did, and she was really able to help me plan out how this got you work in with my undergrad and when I could take these courses and when I could start applying. From there, she then set me off to, I believe it might have been Emily Christensen, one of the advisors for the graduate program. I don't remember now, it was a couple of years ago, but from there, it was really able to help me set in stone what classes you could take, what classes get substituted, and what other requirements I needed. And due to I had that such early start to looking at this program, I was really able to get ahead of the planning and different variables that go into it. And then some other things that affect me personally, being a veteran and GI Bill student, how some of that stuff affects a master's program as well. So, I mean, if you're a freshman, sophomore, or even if you're a senior, please, the sooner you start planning and looking at stuff, whether you do it or not, the sooner it can help you going forward. And then, with the planning and scheduling and how it really fit in, it's a very easy process to really fit into your undergrad classes. Your advisors know when these classes are available and when you can take them. So the more you can get in contact with your advisors from the undergrad and the graduate level, the more beneficial you can get from this program. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Griffin. Really appreciate that good advice. I'm going to take a pause for a minute before I introduce Dina, and I would like to ask our host, Ty, please share now in the chat the link that I shared with you previously. I would like to invite everyone here as participants, if you're at all even interested in this program and would like more information, or if you're interested in getting an application fee waiver, I'm offering all of the attendees today here an application fee waiver worth $65 that can be used to apply to any of our certificate or master's programs, and they do not expire. So if you decide now, or if you decide in 3 years, you'll still be able to use it. So Ty, if you can share the link in the chat, I invite everyone here to fill this out if you're interested in a grad program, and I'll follow up with you individually. But while y'all are doing that, I'd like to introduce now Dina Painter, who is one of our graduate student ambassadors for the Master of Science in Accounting program, also an AMP program student.
Hey, yes, my name is Dina, and I'm actually, this is my second semester in the master's program. The reason I chose to pursue the AMP program is most of my decision was based on the dual credits, knocking them out, because I had an associate's degree in accounting before coming back to get my bachelor's, and so I had a lot of credits before, and I only needed like less than 10 credits to sit for the CPA exam, and that was my end goal. So I was like, I was really teetering, wanting to go back, because I have a family, I work full time, I have a family with 2 small kids, and I was just like, I don't know if I can take any more school, but having the dual credit hours really helped my decision, because it was like, okay, I can get this done in 12 months. And that really helped me, because I was able to knock some classes out a whole lot faster. And like Jennifer has said before, the sooner you start planning this, it's a whole lot easier. But yes, the reason I would do this now and not wait till like a lot of people think, okay, I'm gonna get my bachelor's and I'm gonna go out into the workforce and get my career going, and then I'll come back for my master's. I've done that. It's very hard to do coming back later. I did eventually come back, but I do wish I had done it in the very beginning. It's just a whole lot harder because life gets in the way. Some people start families, have children and stuff, and it just gets a whole lot harder to come back. But it does happen to come back. You're able to come back to school, but it is a whole lot harder. So I, advise you to jump onto this program now. There's so many great things about it, from the dual credit hours, costing you less in tuition, and just so many great perks from it. Yes, so I would say do not wait until later in your career to choose to jump and get in your master's. I would so choose right now the AMP program.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dina. Really appreciate that. Now I'd like to check in with the folks. So initially the link did not work. So hopefully it's working now. Is there anyone that can give us a thumbs up to let us know if it's now working? Great. Awesome. And if anyone's interested in getting a copy of the presentation, please also feel free to fill out the link, and I'll make sure that you all get it. So now I just have 2 more slides for you. Just wanted to share just a listing and a brief overview of what we do have to offer on the graduate program side at the Bryan School. So I do want to note that all of our master's programs are now available online, and some of them can be completed in as little as 1 year. We have 4 programs available both online and on campus with online options. That's our MBA program, a Master of Science in Accounting. We have a Master of Science in Retail Studies and a Master of Science in IT and Management. Our Applied Economics program is available exclusively online. There we go. We also have 6 graduate certificate programs within IT and management. Many students add a certificate onto their master's or start with a certificate to kind of ease their way into a master's degree program. We have 2 certificate programs within the economics area, 1 within management, the taxation certificate in accounting, and then we have 3 certificates in retail studies, which have been very popular among those interested in advancing in the retail industry. If you're interested in learning more about any of these programs, I welcome you to join me at one of our monthly webinars. We also offer monthly program-specific virtual information sessions. That's with the faculty and students, one-on-one meetings with our grad recruiters, and free GMAT prep courses. You can register for any of those at go.uncg.edu/BryanCrad. So that's all I have for you. And I'd love to just open it up to questions, and was asked to share this QR code with you all for Bryan Gold.
Yeah, so at this time, as Jennifer mentioned, we're going to go into Q&A. Make sure to scan that code that she put onto the screen. If you can go into your Suitable app, you're able to scan it that way. And I'm also going to throw a link into the chat if you want more info on Bryan Gold and how to register or activate and log into your account. So I'm going to put that in right now. If you have any questions, make sure to start putting that into the Q&A section. We'd love to utilize our panelists today. Okay, so I can see we already have two questions in the chat. Jennifer, I'll just read them to you. So the first one is from Christy. She was asking more so what really is the GRE and the GMAT for the first question. So if you want to answer that.
Sure. So the GRE is the graduate readiness exam, and the GMAT is the graduate management admissions test. So one, the GRE is more the general test. For instance, when I went to grad school, I didn't know that I wanted to go right into business or anything like that. So I took the GRE, and most other grad programs offer it. The GMAT, however, is specific to business in the same way that, for instance, the MCAT is specific to medical school, or the LSAT is specific to law school. So when you take the GMAT, you know, it's testing a little bit different skills and knowledge areas. It's a little bit more intense than GRE, and it's also a signal to the graduate school that you're applying to. Look, I know I want to go into graduate management program. I know that I'm interested in business, and it kind of, you know, signals that you're a little bit more of a serious student. You know where you're headed there. It happens sometimes that some students are just better at taking the GRE versus the GMAT. It might be a good comparison of the ACT and the SAT on the, you know, high school undergrad level. I have a high schooler taking it right now. So yeah, I hope that helps. The GRE is also a little bit cheaper. It's only $100 to take versus the GMAT is $250. However, as I mentioned, we have GMAT test fee waivers available that will waive the $250 fee that it takes to take the GMAT. So if you're interested in that, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to provide you with that link, and you can submit your application for one of those test fee waivers. They're both available, by the way, online and in person right now. So we try to make it easy for you there. I hope that helps to answer your question. Any other guidance from our panelists on those differences? Well, I guess, you know, being an accelerated master's student, you didn't have to take them. So there was that. Did any of you take a, you know, just as a part of applying it? No. All right, well, there you are.
Okay, we'll move on to our next question from Richard. He asks, how would one understand if an MBA program is worth the extra time and money when I am unsure what I want to do moving forward?
I would love to just invite the panelists that are here, Luke and Griffin, in the MBA program, to share your perspective on that if you'd like.
Sure, yes, me and Griffin go ahead and tag team this one. So I would say that's a very personal decision. I mean, you kind of have to weigh the cost benefit, you know, just like anything, just like going to undergrad, right? Like what makes undergrad worth it in the long run. So I think it's a very personal decision. You kind of have to weigh it on your own. Now, my perspective, and I'll just speak from my experience. So when I was even coming into undergrad, I knew I wanted to come into undergrad for a very specific reason. That was I want to start my own business. Okay, so I knew that as much as I can learn in undergrad is going to save me time and money, you know, and shorten my learning curve once I get out there and I actually start, you know, it's trying to start these businesses that I have, that, you know, that I want to start. Looking at the MBA program, it's just a furtherance of that. So I know that as much time as I'm able to spend in the MBA program soaking up information, that's going to prepare me and basically cause myself less pain and trouble and wasted money down the road, you know, to accomplish that same objective. So that's kind of my, I guess, take what you want from that experience. But that was kind of what I would say that you know, that's my evaluation of it.
Thank you, Luke. It sounds to me that you had a pretty good idea of you know, what you wanted to do and where you wanted to go. Griffin, did you know what you wanted, you know, to do with your MBA, you know, when you were a freshman, looking or hearing about this program?
Yes, I did. I've known, so I was a finance major undergrad, and then I'll get a concentration in finance in my MBA. And I've known for years before I went to college is what I wanted to do. But I mean, my advice to you, if you know you want to work somewhere in this kind of business environment, you don't know if you want to do finance or real estate or marketing or management or anything like that. During the MBA program, you have 3 electives that you can choose to take that can then encompass more finance, like investing. I think there's a real estate investment kind of class. I know there's marketing and management. There's other types of classes that you can take to get a feel of what you want to do. I mean, the actual MBA program, the classes you take are not just geared solely on business. There's leadership, there's marketing, there's other things to get you a full rounded MBA program to get you a little bit of experience in everything. So if you know you're going to work in business, you can get that MBA and take multiple electives and not get a concentration to really get a feel of what you want to do post MBA.
That's really, really good advice. I agree with that. So when it comes to the MBA, sometimes if you need a metaphor, comparing it to the general practice or the MD of the medical field versus, all the specialties, the, surgical science, the surgeons, the anesthesiologists, all of that. I mean, the MD is the pretty, the first thing you get, the general practice thing, and then you go on from there. Well, the MBA program, essentially, I mean, it's a nationally and internationally recognized program. We're in the top 1% of business schools that have the dual accreditation from the AACSB, which really means something. And you can ask any of these folks here, when you're interviewing and someone hears that you went to the Bryan School and you got your Master of Science in Accounting or your MBA, they're going to recognize that, and that's going to mean something. Also, the MBA is a degree that just really gives you a broad, solid business foundation. So regardless of the employer that you're going to, regardless of the industry that you're going into, that's going to really mean something. I even see students getting an undergraduate degree in information systems and supply chain management and then getting a graduate degree in MBA because they want to show, look, I have this specialized knowledge, but then I also have this general business foundation. Might also see the reverse, right? I might also see someone getting their undergraduate degree in business administration, showing that broad business foundation, and then moving on to IT and management as a more specialized master's. So I think it's really a way to round out your resume and then also open doors that would previously be closed to you. I've heard time and time again from graduate students in our MBA program who even just updating their LinkedIn profile saying that they're seeking an MBA, they now are showing up on job searches from recruiters that they never did before, because those 3 letters mean something in the business world if you're looking for a job in leadership or management. I hope that helps to answer your question, but happy to meet with you one-on-one and also to connect you with any of our advisors too.
So we have time for a couple more. We have another question from Eric. Who do I go to start prepping and planning for participating in some of these programs?
Good question. So step number 1, I would say, is go to your academic advisor. That's always, even if you come to me and ask me questions, I'm going back to the step-by-step slide here. If you come to me, I'm going to say first, talk to your advisor. They have to make sure that you're qualified for the program, and they also have to make sure that you don't take certain classes before entering the program. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 would be to talk to the graduate program director. So their contact information is here. If you don't have time to write this down, or you don't want to fill out the form, you can even just reach out to me and I'm happy to get you connected there.
Then we have another question from Mark. How does the MSA program help one prepare for the CPA program?
Yeah, that's a great question. My question in response would be, how does it not? Because our Master of Science in Accounting program, so first, in order to sit for the CPA, you have to have a certain number of graduate credits. And so those with an accounting background, sometimes they'll take the taxation certificate, and then they'll get those credits that they need there based on their other hours that they've taken. But actually the CPA prep is built into our curriculum. And so you're going to have extensive CPA prep and hopefully have passed a portion of the CPA exams even by the time that you graduate. Dina, can you share a little bit more about that?
Yes, there's many classes within the program that's going to prepare you for the CPA exam. Even the instructors, doing the classes, tell you, hey, this is going to be on the CPA exam. It was when I took it. There's much work involved in the program that will help you with the CPA exam. Yeah, you can actually talk to the instructors and, ask them for, guidance of, hey, you can ask them what topics are on the CPA exam when you took it, and they'll tell you. So
what are your plans for taking the CPA exam, Dina?
I have 3 classes this semester. After this semester, I will have only 1 class left to finish my master's, and that will be in the spring. And I plan to take the spring, because I only have that 1 class, and start studying for the exam in the spring, because I'm used to only taking 2 classes a semester. So since I'm only taking 1 class in the spring, I'm going to take that extra time to prepare for starting the CPA exam. So maybe by the time I graduate in May, I will maybe have 1, maybe 2 of the sections already passed.
What about you, Madison?
Yes, I am sort of loading my schedule up. I'm gonna try to start studying for one of the sections this semester, because I know, after speaking with Amanda Cromarty, who's in charge of the accounting graduate program, she says they always recommend that you sit for at least 1 to 2 sections of the exam. And for those who don't know, there's 4 sections while you're in your master's program, because once you get out of your program and have a job, it's harder to do it while you're working full time. There's less time in the day that you have to devote to studying, because it is many, many, many hours of studying. So I'm gonna try to take 1 to 2 sections while I'm finishing up my master's program.
Thanks to you both. And I hope that helps to answer their question from the student that asked it.
We have another question here. Jennifer, when you get the chance, could you throw the QR code back on the screen? I think we have a couple of students still needing to scan. Mark asks, if someone is in the MSA program, can they do a certificate in another program? For example, the data analytics certificate.
Sure. So within the core curriculum of the accounting program, you're allowed a certain number of accounting electives. And then you also, in addition, have a number of general electives. I'll say yes, with the caveat that you do need permission from the program director of your accounting program and the program that you're hoping to add a certificate in. It might involve taking 1 additional class, as it does in the MBA program. If you want a certificate, you have to take just 1 additional class, but otherwise it's fairly straightforward to incorporate those certificates into your programs. Are either of you, Dina or Madison, having a certificate as part of your? No,
I just have a concentration in taxation as part of my degree.
Any other questions?
Tyler, I think you're muted.
Thank you. I just noticed that.
Oh, I can't see him, so I didn't know that. Sorry.
It's okay. We actually have another question from Kayla. She said, what if I am a new transfer student and want to join the AMP accounting? I planned originally to be a CPA.
Yes, I would be happy to meet with you, Kayla. We get a fair number. I mean, we have a large number of transfer students at the Bryan School. So I do get this question a lot. It's just going to mean that you'll need to be applying for the MSA AMP program within almost your first semester as being a student at the Bryan School, which is okay. I can help you through that process and help make sure everything gets lined up for you. But just as you apply in high school for college, you apply in grad, in your undergrad for grad school. You don't have to wait until you graduate to apply. And so that's what we'll do with you, is we'll get you to start working on that application now, get it submitted, and go ahead and get you admitted. Well, and so there's the GPA requirement, right? So this question we get a lot. And so typically you can apply to the program and even submit on your application before you even have, that GPA in place. Your application will just pend your acceptance will be pending the receipt of your transcript, with that GPA on it.
Okay, so we are reaching the last minute here of our meeting. I want to give a big thanks to our moderator, Jennifer, and all of our speakers today, and of course, all of the students who joined the session. There is another session at 1 p.m. It is Nailing Your Personal Brand. So make sure to attend that if you can. And also, I'm going to say this once again, don't forget about the Back to Business party. The gates are going to open at 5 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're giving out free food. We have a tie-dye t-shirt station, a DJ, and a photo booth. The party entrance, for those who don't know already, is going to be at the stadium gates, which are closest to Bryan School, right on Kenilworth Street. So remember, the party is open to Bryan students only. Make sure to get there on time because supplies will be limited. We are really looking forward to seeing you all there. Jennifer, do you have any last minute announcements or anything?
Just wanted to thank everyone for attending and welcome you to reach out to me anytime if you have questions or just want to chat about your grad school planning. Always happy to get you connected with our grad student ambassadors and faculty.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.